Okay, a moral obligation versus an unofficial duty. Okay, in instance of making this argument, it will be important to look at both aspects. You have a moral duty to do a certain act versus your contractual or professional obligation to do a certain things. So if two of these are different interest clashes, then there'll be, a clash of interest, of course, or colluding of interest. So what happens, for example, if you have a legal duty to, let's say you're a teacher and your student is facing either incarceration or, they've been hurt or something like that. So when you become absent in the interest of the school not wanting you to be absent for your official duty, and you become absent based on your moral obligation or moral duty to go see the student and ensure the student's well-being, then it comes back to you being scolded for not upholding your official duty, which is to be present at school at all times. Then you will argue that probably you being absent in school without notice didn't affect your work in any way. You chose a time slots where you didn't have any classes, or you didn't have any, teaching duties at that point in time. And when you have to argue that, then it will be to a consideration, okay, fine, but your contractual obligation coupled with your official duty says otherwise. It says that you must be in school at all times as required by your contract. So let's say your contract says you have to, clock in at 8 and clock off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So in between that time, you cannot be anywhere but at school. So that's what your contract say. So this whole aspect of then weighing the moral duty versus the obligatory duty, which is, enunciated in your contract, clashes. There's a conflict of interest in both aspects. So according to public opinion, one will say, no, you did a good thing. This person deserves, a pat on the shoulder because he or she was ensuring the well-being of their own student. They were moralistically acting out of empathy and sympathy, and that's how humans should act. But on the other side, employers will argue otherwise. Or people who have to pay your salary, they will say it wasn't required of you. You're not a mother outside your official duties. Your official duties start when you start teaching the students, or the students are within the vicinity of the school. So you seeing a student after hours, or in which you prohibited hours, is actually more personal than it being an official duty for you. So it could mean that you were sincerely, knowingly ignoring your contractual or official duty or obligations. So you see, then the court has to come in and balance the two. Then when you follow the law is logical. The law limits, empathy, sympathy a lot. Yeah, when it comes to sentencing, it might be a very different thing. You can look at, mitigating factors based on rising sympathy and empathy. But when you're looking at it in terms of trying to find out who's wrong or who's right, then you become logical. You can only empathize when you're sentencing. You see, the law is a bit tricky like that. So what happens now is that if you have to look at both sides, which side will you choose? The person acted out of, a filial duty. They acted out of, their moral and empathical type of duty and obligation in order to act in a certain manner. And once they did that, it hampered upon their official duty in which they signed a contract. So which one obligates you more? your contract, of course. Yeah, we do not like that. Though you are acting out of a very, very sincere position, but you are still bound by a contract. You are still bound by the fact that you consented to be held responsibly in a professional manner. It doesn't take away the fact that you cannot act contrary to that. The only time you are allowed or excluded is when you leave with notice, and that notice must be feasible. Either you're sick, a family member has died. Those are the most excusable notices you can give in terms of you breaching your official duty or contractual obligation. So you see, in terms of you doing good versus you having to do what you have to do, you having to do what you have to do because you consented to doing such takes precedence. So whilst you're thinking about doing something good in contra to your contractual or legal obligation, think twice. You cannot argue that you were being empathical to your student by visiting them. They'll tell you use your own personal times instead of the times that you are required to present yourself under a contractual or official obligation. So this was the Law Talk presented by Loretta-M, Master's qualification at University of Pretoria. It was nice having you. Be safe, follow the law. That's all for me.